Hello, and welcome to Bottom Line. We have an amazing show for you today. We're going to be talking about an amazing and outstanding nonprofit organization called Special Olympics. It's my honor to have with us today the Marketing and Communications Manager, Lourin Sprenger. Lourin, welcome to Bottom Line.
Well, thanks so much for having me. It's so great to be here.
Yeah, it's really exciting, from if people do or don't know about Special Olympics. So maybe just to kind of level set everyone, maybe give us the history of how Special Olympics got its start.
Absolutely. Special Olympics is more than 50 years old now. It's an international organization. It was actually started by a member of the Kennedy family, Eunice Shriver Kennedy, more than 50 years ago in the backyard of her home. Her sister Rosemary suffered from an intellectual disability, and Eunice Kennedy Shriver wanted to do her part to shed light on those with disabilities and their abilities. So she started Camp Shriver in her backyard in her home in New England and brought together athletes with intellectual disabilities to enjoy sports together. We believe that sports give all of us a sense of community, a place to go, a place to celebrate, a place to push our limits. And in that 50 plus years since Special Olympics started, it's now an international organization and that serves millions and millions of athletes all across the world, more than 20,000 right here in Michigan.
And Lourin, that's just amazing to see how it got its start and how it's really grown. And so if we talk a little bit about when it first started with Eugene Shriver, was there a certain amount of just sports you started with at that point in time?
Yeah, it was really a summer camp in her backyard. So it started just kind of as a chance for both children and adults to come together. There weren't a lot of resources available at the time. So it was really a place, kind of a home away from home for these athletes to come together, to celebrate each other, to meet other like-minded individuals. So it was flag football, and it was summer picnics, and it was swimming in the Kennedy's pool. So it started off very simple, and of course has grown into a much larger movement. I know here at Special Olympics Michigan, we offer more than 23 sports now. So anything from figure skating to bocce ball. We just added cornhole as a sport. There's really something for everyone, but it did start on a much smaller scale.
Yeah. And you made something really key about people who maybe they have some intellectual challenges, but they still have a lot of abilities and they can still play sports. And anyone who's played sports understands just the camaraderie and the teamwork and the sense of a group to coming together and accomplishment, whether you win or lose. But can we talk, Lourin, and we'll bring it in maybe to Michigan and talk a little bit about Michigan specifically. How long did it take for Michigan to have their own Special Olympics here in our state?
So we started in 19, excuse me. Oh, now I'm being put on the.
Okay. Don't worry about the year.
We are also more than 50 years old. So just to put things in perspective, we just wrapped up our Summer Games, which is our largest celebration statewide of the year. Happens on the campus of Central Michigan University in Mount Pleasant. So we just celebrated 50 years of in-person summer games. We had to take a couple years off because of the pandemic. So we are more than 50 years old as well. We started Special Olympics. The organization started in 1968, and I believe we started in 1972. So we're 50 years old now. We're celebrating more than 5 decades of serving our athletes here in Michigan. And this organization just continues to grow, but there is, there is a reach that we're still trying to make sure that we're a household name and people know that anyone and everyone is welcome to participate with us, whether it be as an athlete, as a volunteer, as a coach, or just as a cheerleader. That's often my favorite job, is to just stand on the sidelines and take in that excitement, take in that camaraderie, enjoy all of the joy. So there really is something for everyone.
It really is. And I have to kind of echo that because I know plays a special part in my heart. I had volunteered for Special Olympics many, many, many years ago.
Well, thanks for
When
doing that.
I didn't have gray hair. And at that time, I was able to be what they called a hugger. And, I was able to be with the children as they came through the finish lines. And just to see the smile on their faces, I was just, their ability was just amazing. So it's very something I think that everybody and anybody, like you said, can get involved in. And
Absolutely.
it's a great organization to do that. I'm curious, with Michigan, there's summer and there's winter.
Yes.
Is one or the other a little more popular?
Well, I'm biased. I live in the Traverse City area where we have our winter games. So winter games are very popular, but as I mentioned, our summer sports are our summer games are most celebrated of the year. We had more than 2,500 athletes participate at a state level. So just like traditional sports, you qualify. So you start at your community level, move up to regionals, and then participate at state. So we had 2,500 athletes up here at winter games. I think we have around 1,500. Both are very popular. I think it really just depends on interest. Are you a runner? Do you want to participate in track and field and swimming, or any of our athletics or weightlifting? That's what happens during the summer. Or do you want to do skiing and snowshoeing? We also do ice skating and speed skating. So it really is, what are you the most interested in? But we do see the larger numbers happening when the weather's a little bit warmer.
And I can't blame that. I think that that I would be surprised if it wasn't a tidbit more for the summer,
Yeah.
in Michigan and that. But it's just amazing. And so for the people who are watching at home,
Yeah.
what might be, if they're looking and thinking they have a child, a brother, a sister, a friend, cousin, is there certain age groups and that people can start, or kids can, and young adults or teens get involved to actually participate?
Fantastic question. I think it's a common misconception that Special Olympics is only for children. And we actually offer sports and health services to those ages 8 and up. So we say 8 until forever. Most of our population is actually an adult population. We have lots of school programming as well. And then we also offer a Healthy Athletes program for those ages 2 to 7. So those are kind of our athletes in training, really focuses on fine and gross motor skills and getting you warmed up and ready to become a full-time athlete starting at age 8.
Yeah. Wow. So if someone's watching, how do they start to get involved? Going to the Special Olympics, website, seeing what upcoming events are coming and the age group and the competition. It sounds like you begin at a local level and then move your way through local, regional, and state then.
Absolutely. We shine a bright light on our state competitions because there's so many of us coming together. But Special Olympics happens all over the state. We're in all of our counties here in Michigan, and we have 36 areas where you can compete at a community level. Our website, we refer to ourselves Special Olympics Michigan as SOMI, SOMI. So our website is www.somi.org, and there's lots of information there. Reach out via email. I'm the one answering those emails, so I'll point you in the right direction. But it really is, we're truly a family, and we are always looking to welcome new members to our family, whether it be a volunteer, again, a coach, an athlete, a parent. There are so many ways to get involved. And I guess my first invitation would be come out and just spend a little bit of time with us. Come out, watch our athletes compete, attend an event, and just really experience the energy that will make up your mind all by itself.
Right. And that's another key point you keep making is the energy and the family. It is, somebody should go in person and experience that and see. Curious, do you like the skill levels? How do you go about taking people in the skill levels? Is it men in one competition and women, or men versus women? It just depends on what their skill level is. Just curious how you go ahead and group folks when they're playing in one of the sports.
Absolutely. So first and foremost, let me say, if you don't have any sports experience, don't let that intimidate you, because we have awesome coaches that will teach you the way. I've been a bocce coach. I knew nothing about bocce. My athletes on the team, they taught me how to play and how to coach them. So there really are skill levels for everyone. So you're just starting, or let's say you're a skier and you ski on the Black Diamonds. Your coach and our sports staff at the state level, they will put you into a placement based on your skill set and your level. And then of course, we're always looking to help you elevate and grow and move up to the next level. So again, don't be intimidated if you're not a sports, you don't have any experience swimming. Don't let that stop you, because we start from the very basics and we work all the way up. We're really looking to kind of massage and grow that skill as we're looking to do with all of our skills in life.
So I think, Lourin, what you're saying, so I want to make sure I understand this one is, please. For instance, and I'll use you as an example with yes. bocce. In which I think it's awesome that you took it on as a coach and hadn't coached it before, but now you do. If someone's watching and they have the intellectual disabilities and challenges, but physically they want to say, hey, I'd like to compete in bocce, but they've never played bocce. What it sounds like is you have coaches who are volunteering their time that will help teach them, and then they can compete.
Absolutely. So it's just, we function just like traditional sports program. We follow the same rules. We follow the same guidelines. And yeah, we're all in it together. So much like a team, your team is not going to let you fail. They're there to encourage you and push you and lift you up. And that's one of my favorite things. We were, as I mentioned, just at summer games, and our athletes are awarded medals for their competition, and you will see a gold medalist on the podium, and they are equally as excited as the person that is standing next to them taking fourth place, often more excited. And it's that energy that we keep going back to. It truly is unmatched, and just the sportsmanship and the camaraderie and the celebration of others' accomplishments is one of the things I think is really unique to Special Olympics. And it's just an awesome experience.
I truly want to use it. It's priceless, really.
Yes.
And I say that for a reason too, that we use the word priceless, because it's my understanding there's no cost to the athletes. So
excellent segue.
Exactly. That just came to me.
So Special Olympics Michigan, we're 100% nonprofit. Our athletes, they are paving the way for a more inclusive world. They're breaking down long-standing social stigmas related to disability. So the least that we can do is we can offer to alleviate the financial burden that it takes to compete, to travel, for uniforms, for meals. Everything for our athletes comes at no cost to them. So there really is no reason to not give it a try if you're on the fence.
Exactly. And, one thing, since we are talking about Special Olympics being a 501c nonprofit organization, you are relying on donations from companies and corporations, sponsorships, and individuals. So I think that's also, if someone's looking out there and saying, I can't maybe spend time with a volunteer, or I can't, be a coach, but maybe I can help financially. And I know that's something that Special Olympics would welcome to help keep the programs going.
Yes, absolutely. We are so lucky to have so many wonderful volunteers and supporters. Our largest grassroots fundraisers are our law enforcement. So we have a program called the Law Enforcement Torch Run. They, much like the Olympic flame, we have what we call the Flame of Hope. So at the start of every games, they bring in the torch for us and they light the torch. And they raised more than $2 million for Special Olympics Michigan, both in 2023 and again this year through our polar plunges. So you may see events throughout the winter where we are asking you to be bold, to get cold, to kind of push yourself outside of your comfort zone, much like our athletes do every day by jumping into some cold water. We do ask that you wear a wild and crazy costume as well, just to kind of embrace the celebration and the spirit of Special Olympics. So that fundraising effort is really helping fund our athletes to attend summer games, which is several nights away from home. It's bus rides, it's overnight stays, and then it also allows our athletes to compete at regional competitions as well.
Yeah, and that's outstanding. And that's off to the law enforcement for the torch and the polar plunge.
Yeah, it's also a really nice way. Law enforcement can be a thankless job, so it's a place for them to go where they are accepted and they are warmly welcomed, and it is those hugs and those high fives, and it just is, it's a truly, truly special relationship. Our law enforcement, I think they take so much away from it, that just that positive boost from that energy that we keep going back to. So to see the relationships, we are a sports organization and it is the sports that bring us together. But I really think that we're so deeply rooted in these special relationships.
Right. And I think that's key, especially with, law enforcement and individuals to just get exposed to each other. And as you said, like maybe with the polar plunge, maybe the officers want to wear something besides the police officer uniform.
Yeah.
They can wear a funny costume, and get away with it.
Yeah, and the neat thing about this relationship.
It'd be fun. Yeah.
I'm sorry, I'm stepping on you. The neat thing about the relationship with law enforcement is a lot of our athletes with a disability, they will have an introduction to law enforcement at some point in their life. And this creates a positive first impression, a positive first introduction with law enforcement, and kind of eliminates the intimidation factor if they are needed for a crisis or emergency situation moving forward.
We've used the word intellectual disabilities, and if someone's watching, is there a way to maybe define what that might be for people? I mean, we probably can all say, or we can probably assume it, but if someone's watching and they say, well, how do I know if my son or daughter or brother, sister, or neighbor or friend might qualify to be able to be part of it?
Absolutely. It's really a very broad spectrum, the term intellectual disability. I'll start by kind of explaining on a lower level. Like a lot of people say, you'll watch the Paralympics that take place after the Olympics every few years, and that is a physical disability. So someone that maybe has lost a limb or that suffers from a physical challenge. An intellectual disability is often a disability that you can't see. That includes Down syndrome, it includes autism, but it includes so many other things, traumatic brain injury. So it usually comes with a diagnosis from a doctor. We do ask that all of our athletes have sports physicals. We offer several times a year free sports physicals for our athletes to make sure that they are able to compete. But if you have a question and you're not sure, it's something that we're more than willing to answer. And again, we are an inclusive organization, so we want to get you involved in some way, shape, or form on any level. And we also have a program called our Unified Champion Schools program that we are really celebrating, and we've seen take off over the last several years. We have more than 500 schools that participate in this program, where it brings athletes with and without intellectual disabilities together onto the same team. So they play as one, and you're really kind of eliminating that stigma of having a disability, and you're just celebrating being on the same team and the joy of sport. So there are so many ways, disability or not, to be involved in Special Olympics.
Yeah. And I think that's a great idea, for folks to coexist together on the team and get to know each other and support each other and things like that. And one thing I know you mentioned, here in Michigan, over 19,000 athletes. I think it's over 6,000 volunteers, but it's also, I think, over 2,000 coaches. So one of the volunteer opportunities you've kind of talked about is someone who might want to be a coach. What might you want for qualifications if someone out there's watching says, well, maybe I could coach, whether they know the sport or would like to learn, like you did, bocce, and teach it?
Yeah. So again, don't be intimidated by not knowing. If there's a natural curiosity there, I say go for it. Yeah, definitely go for it. And we will train you. So all you have to do is just sign up. We ask for about an hour of your time once a week. That's about all it takes for practice. Usually our seasons are 6 to 8 weeks long, so it's really a minimal commitment. We'll have you for as long as you'll let us. But it really is a minimal time commitment, and we'll give you everything that you need: the uniforms, the resources. We help with transportation. So if there just is a natural curiosity, it's just about asking a question, and we'll get you started.
Okay, that's awesome. So we talked a little bit then about coaching, people who might just want to come out and watch. What are some of the other maybe volunteer opportunities that Special Olympics could really use the help for?
Well, coaches are our number one need right now. We are still kind of coming back from the pandemic. We lost a few of our family members along the way, just in terms of time and resources. So we're trying to kind of cater to the younger generation. So those that are up and coming, we would love to. Well, we'll take we will welcome anyone, but we are trying to get younger people more involved as well, because it usually does become a lifelong commitment and a life long bright spot for many of our coaches. But coaches, volunteers, we have people that maybe specialize in paperwork and they prefer doing that, or they offer health services. We have a program called Healthy Athletes, so we offer free health screenings for our athletes. So just at Summer Games, we had our Healthy Athletes Village. So our athletes were able to go through a tent of volunteers, and there were opticians and optometrists and people that were testing hearing and being fit. Our athletes that maybe found out they needed a hearing aid were being fitted on the spot. So dental screenings, foot exams, there are just really, truly so many different ways to volunteer and get involved. So if there's an area of interest that you have, maybe you like taking pictures, we love capturing those special moments. There just really is something for everyone, which really falls under the mantra of us being an inclusive organization.
Absolutely. I do want to talk a little bit about the healthcare, but before we do, is there a minimum age for coaching or anything? Because I know you said kind of younger generation and, kind of a lifelong journey. But is there a certain age that you'd like someone to be if they're going to be coaching?
Yeah, that's a great question. We do ask to have one adult on site, 18 or older. All of our volunteers, they are certified, so they've gone through a background check, they've gone through a screening, but lots of families will come out and coach together. So maybe it's a mother and son pair, or so there maybe it's a young daughter that plays volleyball and her dad's the coach. So really, if you're interested in coaching, we don't have a lot of age guidelines. We just want to make sure that there is a certified adult on the premises, of course, looking out for everyone.
Makes total sense. One of the things I remember reading in information, on the website and in some of the other kind of press releases and so is about some misconceptions that possibly the folks with intellectual disabilities have, better healthcare than others. And that may not be the truth. So could you talk a little bit? You kind of mentioned quite a bit of those things, like that people, at some of the events, you have somebody who can help with hearing loss or somebody with a dentist. Can you talk a little bit more about some of the health screenings?
Yeah, actually, healthcare services are something that our athletes struggle with the most. They are truly an underserved population. So one of our goals is to make sure that they have access to that healthcare, and it is affordable. So these screenings, like these healthy athlete screenings, they are free, and it is a chance to sit with a medical professional and ask questions and see if there are any concerns, or maybe not. That is also the best case scenario. But I was just at Summer Games, and I was sitting with an athlete as she was going through her vision screening, and she's 24 years old, and she had never actually had a proper eye exam. So she had been screened at school, which is those are the basics, but she learned so much more about her vision. She learned she had astigmatism and that she needed glasses. She was fitted and walked away with glasses before she left in her 48 hours at Summer Games. So it's making sure that those services are accessible and that our athletes are at their peak physical and mental health, so that they can continue to spread a message of inclusion and, of course, to participate in the sports that we all love so much.
And that's amazing. I mean, what a perfect example of someone who helped enhance their life, not just from being there for sports, but helping, a vision. And for someone who has had astigmatism and vision issues, to me, someone having, eyesight taken care of is so important.
Yeah, absolutely. It could be as simple as, you're going to meet with a dentist and learn how to properly brush and floss your teeth. Those are life lessons that I'm still learning. So to have access to that, and you leave just like you do at the dentist. You leave with a toothbrush and some fun floss and maybe a fun sugar-free bubblegum flavor. So they also make it exciting and appealing so that our athletes do want to attend. But this is all volunteer. Our dentists and our podiatrists, they're coming out and they're giving their time for several days to make sure that our athletes are happy and healthy. And again, this is not a sporting event, but there's so much joy in that room, just with the interaction and talking to the medical professionals. They're having just as much fun as our athletes are. It really is. It's a very special bond.
And that's amazing, because again, that's another opportunity for someone who has that kind of skill, who's a dentist, a doctor, podiatrist, anything, to be able to say, yes, I would love to participate, because again, they're usually doing it because they want to help people. So here's a group of people and individuals that maybe don't get exposed to what they need to. So it's just amazing. To me, Special Olympics is such an amazing organization because it's so far reaching. And I know you mentioned with all the sports, I have to ask the question, how do you decide when to add a sport? Because, there's some of them out there that are getting pretty popular here again.
Based on demand. So usually what we do, so I mentioned that we're actually adding cornhole, or the game of bags, to our list of official state certified sports. And we will pilot a sport for 2 years. We'll see how it goes. We're working on that with pickleball right now too, because that is something that we've just seen take off. So it's based on demand. Obviously, here we have winter sports because we have the climate for it. So, there's certain criteria, but it's really what is the level of interest? What do people want to get involved in? And what can we offer based on climate and just accessibility?
Now, at the same time, I have to ask then, I know it's wonderful to keep adding and adding. And of course, I was kind of alluding to pickleball because it seems to be the future sport here.
I know everybody's playing pickleball. I got to get on that bandwagon.
It's taking off, or has taken off. So at the same time, I know it's hard to manage all these sports, because I think you said there's over 24 that are offered here just in Michigan. Do you find that maybe some don't have as much participation, and maybe, let's say, you might retire those for a year or two to see? Or
yeah, I think it really just depends on the level of interest. So to be completely transparent, as I mentioned, we do speed skating for our winter sports. We did not offer speed skating at Winter Games this year because we didn't have athletes that were interested or able to participate. So we go in ebbs and flows, and we really cater it based on what our athletes are asking for and what they are interested in.
And one of the things I have to ask as well is, because you mentioned it's a population of people from all ages participating in that. Just curious, is there senior competitions as well? If you have older people that want to join, and maybe they're like, well, I'm not sure if they can keep up with the young ones.
Our senior population, they are thriving, and I love seeing them. Bocce is one of our most popular sports for our seniors, bocce and bowling, because it's lower impact. We have had athletes that have been involved for 50 years, and they have no intention of retiring. At Winter Games, our CEO brought up our youngest athlete who was 8, and our oldest athlete who was in his late 70s, and he was snowshoeing. He had been out on the course earlier in the day, just really inspiring all of us, but our athletes, to just continue to push to be their best. And his philosophy was, it's not about how fast I finish. It's the fact that I do, and I can finish, and I'm still active at this age. So don't let age deter you from being involved.
So as we kind of close up the show here, Lourin, what would be maybe your final words of wisdom that you'd want to share with anyone who's watching out there?
I would say come hang out with us. It's a simple invitation. I promise you're going to have a good time. You're going to meet some new people. We are not shy. So we're going to welcome you with open arms, and it's going to be a life-changing experience. What I tell people that are interested or they're curious, follow through with that curiosity. And we have a feeling you won't be going anywhere anytime soon. So if you're interested, we would love to see you out on a field or at an event, and we'll take good care of you.
Oh, I have no doubt. And Lourin, your passion and enthusiasm is infectious. And, and I've been to some of the events, again, many, many years ago, but again, there's always that energy, the passion. Everyone's there just to have fun.
Yeah. And I can talk about Special Olympics all day long. It is a passion. It's something that I love deeply. But once you've had an athlete experience, you'll understand.
Right. Now, Lourin, what brought you to Special Olympics?
a deep, deep love for the organization and our athletes. I have been with Special Olympics my entire life as a coach and volunteer, a fan and cheerleader. It has always given me a place to call home. It's given me a sense of community. It's given me a place to go at the end of a bad day where I know that day is going to get better. And it has given me an extended family. So now I have the pleasure of calling it a career. And I'm the luckiest girl in the whole world because I get to work with our athletes all day, every day. And they just continue to inspire us all.
Well, Lourin, thank you again for what you do, for what everyone at Special Olympics does, and for all the volunteers, all the coaches, and everybody. Just thank you for that. And I thank our audience for watching, and I wish everyone a wonderful day, and please consider helping out Special Olympics. Take care. I'm Cindy Kainz.